Welcome back to the program. Gretchen Hall is the CEO of the Lerock Convention and Visitors Bureau. She has added a new title voluntarily to her name. She is now the chairwoman of Destinations International, which is a group of tourism and conference and travel officials that operates globally. Welcome back to the program. Good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Just couldn't have enough fun just focusing locally, and Little Rock had to go global on us, had to go worldwide with COVID-19 and dealing with all of these situations.
That's right. Questioning a little bit on the timing of this, but truly honored to be in this slot.
It was in the works for a while.
It was.
Well, let's begin in Little Rock, and let's talk about what is the state of the convention and tourism business in Little Rock, Arkansas today?
Sure. So we were seeing kind of a really great surge of recovery here locally, although our lodging numbers are still lagging 2019. 2019 is going to be our baseline year,
right?
Moving forward with all the anomalies in 2020. As of the end of June, so first half look at 2021, we're still behind on total revenue on the hotels by about 15%, but making huge strides. So we'll see how long we can maintain that number. We're seeing a real recovery in total events coming back, but the large group meetings and conventions are still lagging a little bit, and we don't anticipate that return until next year.
Right. So, you see what's happening with the rise in the Delta variant here with COVID-19 in Arkansas. That obviously is the driving factor for. Are the groups canceling, or did they just not schedule to begin with?
We've got a mixture of both, right? So most of the large events just take a longer lead time, and they have already rebooked to 2022 and beyond. Some of the smaller events were scheduled the second half of this year, and they're either waiting to lock in that date and commitment on a contracting standpoint, or they are talking to us about moving those dates again.
You do get to see things on a global perspective, so you see other countries that are in the same boat as Little Rock, Arkansas. You see other countries and places around the world that have almost fully recovered almost. So what's the difference?
Sure, and I see places that are a lot further behind than we are. So on that global platform, it's really great to be able to look at and create some strategies with the world's leaders in the tourism space to talk about all of those different benefits, right? And all of our setbacks, whether that be a community that is already thriving and the word pandemic is kind of in their rearview mirror, to our global borders that are slowly beginning to open, to some that are still in complete lockdown.
The governor is calling a special session next week, really primarily to help the healthcare industry and schools, K through 12. I don't sense that anything they do next week is going to change the formula too much for tourism, or am I wrong in that assessment?
What we're hoping is that it will slow down our numbers of positive cases, right? And that does affect tourism because we're fielding phone calls on a regular basis right now because of Arkansas being in the national media.
I hate to ask this question, but you've always been a straight shooter with me. And so I think when you and I first sat down in the midst of the pandemic last year, we sensed it was maybe a year-long process until the vaccines get here, and then things maybe get a little bit better. Do we need to start business planning, not just in the tourism and convention space, but in general, for pandemics are going to be a way of life for years, if not longer?
I think we have to, right? I mean, this pandemic has taught us a lot of things, but it also makes us try to sit down and strategize all different kinds of things, and some of them we can't even fathom. We couldn't fathom this several years ago. So yes, I think it will teach us all to think differently moving forward.
So how are you thinking differently to plan for this for going forward? How are you going to accommodate for this could always be a scenario that we have to contend with?
Well, part of it is just as we're bringing back staff, because we had to make large reductions in force, right? As we're bringing back staff and we're creating policies for that staff, we're trying to make sure that we're set up on the technology side for more remote work. I think that's something that's going to stick. We're also working through what flexible options we can offer to our workforce going forward. I think that's something that's going to stick. And then we're also working on those crisis communication plans, the pandemic plans with our facilities and all of the different certifications that we're going through there.
So let's end this on some good news.
Okay.
Give me some numbers. I know you bring numbers with you when you go anywhere.
Sure.
So bring me some numbers on what's happening with either hotels or restaurants or all.
Sure. So far, halfway into 2021, our restaurants really have recovered back to 2019 levels. That doesn't mean every restaurant is thriving, but it does mean as a whole in the city, our restaurants are doing very well because they have learned to pivot. Our hotels, again, are still lagging by about 15% on the revenue side. Now, it's much larger in our convention hotels downtown, and that's because that group business is still lagging. So year to date on the hotel revenue side in the downtown area, we're still down about 40% total, but only 15% from 2019 citywide.
All right, glimmers of hope.
Absolutely.
All right, Gretchen Hall, CEO of the Lerock Convention and Visitors Bureau, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Back with more after this.